I was labeled female at birth, but recognized myself as a boy when I was 6 is the earliest that I remember. Didn't know of other options, so as I grew older, lived my life as a dyke. It actually wasn't until I was like 38 that I started thinking about transitioning, and I spent like 10 years, like almost every day going, do I do this? Is it anti-female? Like, why am I doing this? And then finally when I turned 48, I started taking testosterone. It's almost like you come out to yourself, and then you come out to the world as gay, and then you come out to yourself as trans, and then you come out to the world as trans. I lost my best friend when I came out, like at 15, so she just couldn't deal with it. 4 years later, I ran into her and she apologized, but that was really one of the hardest parts. Being a butch person, you aren't represented anywhere in the media, so people don't see you. For example, right now we're having all this bathroom stuff come up. Well, guess what? This has been a butch experience since the beginning of time. One of the things that we're not talking about is the suicide rates of transgender men. 38 to 56% in studies have attempted suicide or have suicide thoughts. 55% of men who are trans, who may be Latin or Native American, are committing suicide, which is an epidemic rate. Sometimes there's issues around people not finding, no matter what they do, what criteria of what they think their bodies are supposed to be. Some of it is from bullying, isolation, and discrimination with employment. If you're not fitting the mold of what your employer wants, you may not be able to get a job. And of course that, I think the numbers for people of color are like 40% less likely to find work because of, we have racism in this country. A couple of years ago, I found myself in a conversation with someone who was telling me what it was like to empower someone to find their own answers and be their best selves. And at that moment on, I became a coach. And so that's like my life work, is helping people to grow, meet their goals, and live their dreams. In the process of that work, I also discovered employment services at the LGBT Center. My goal for working there is to be in a place in community, working with community, to help build people's self-esteem, help them, support them in creating self-care practices, so that we can help people believe that not only can they get a job, but they deserve the job and they deserve to keep it. In order for transgender individuals or gender variant individuals to really be safe, we really need to enact laws and put laws in place that protect them with employment, that allow them to get the documents that they need at free or low cost, that protect them with medical care, and also to enforce training once you put those laws in place. So don't just put the laws in place. Every city government office should receive training on how to work with trans people, how to treat trans patrons. I think one of the important parts for me about being Grand Marshal is the idea that there are trans men and trans men of color out there who can see me as a happy and healthy being and know that they too can be happy and fulfilled. Like, that's what I want to bring. Really helping cut back the violence, really helping cut back the suicide if I can. Just showing people, as what we now call a cliche, it gets better.